Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And I think firstly I just want to say acknowledge yourself, because it's so hard to motivate yourself to do stuff like this right now, I know. And it takes a lot of prep. Even in my household I have to get everyone to move stations and stop homeschooling. So it's good for me, I get a 30-minute break from homeschooling. But anyway, I thought we'd do a slow stretch today because I've just had a huge lunch and can hardly move. But also I think it's nice just to hold the stretch. It takes about 20 seconds or so for the Golgi tendons to release. And if you actually want to become more flexible and mobile, then it's actually beneficial to do long holds. So we're going to basically do that today. So let's just come up to start with in like a cat-cow position. And tap toes under, and we'll just do a couple of cat-cows because I know a couple of you really like cat-cows. So we lift the buttocks up to the ceiling and we pull the shoulders back and down, feeling it in the lats, and then pushing the hands into the ground, taking the chin to the chest. And then just doing this a couple of times and maybe even closing the eyes and seeing if you can move with the breath. So you inhale and then exhale. And as you exhale, just sort of do a full body check. Just run your mind all the way through your body and just feel, is there any tension in the neck, in the shoulders, perhaps in the legs, back? Just notice it without judgment. Inhaling and then exhaling, and then after this, you'll notice hopefully it all goes away. So let's come into child's pose. So taking the knees quite wide, maybe the width of the mat, sit back onto the heels and let the arms really stretch out here. So just taking the head down towards the ground, we're going to start walking both hands all the way over to the right side, keeping the arms as straight as possible, keeping the forehead down, rested on the mat. See if you can start to reach the left fingers just past the right fingers if you can. So you're feeling a really nice side body stretch down that left side. And as you do that, push your heels back onto your buttocks and your buttocks onto your heels. And then just rest your head. Okay, take a couple of really deep breaths all the way from the abdomen, closing the mouth, inhaling and exhaling. Keeping the buttocks on the heels, walk the hands all the way over to the other side, nice and slow, keeping the arms as straight as possible. This time the right buttocks, push it down, the sit bone of the right buttocks all the way down onto that right heel, and then let the right fingertips reach past the left fingertips if you can. Rest the head on the ground and take a couple of deep breaths here. And then slowly coming all the way back to centre. Now we're going to start to reach forward, so much so that your chin comes down towards the mat. And you'll notice that my bottom is just above my knees. Unfold the toes from behind. And then see if you can take your chin and even your chest down towards the mat. So you're opening up your chest. Now some people might be up here, which is totally fine. Just wherever you get that really nice stretch, opening the chest, shoulders, and deep breaths in and out. Should feel nice in the lower back. If you feel any pain, just back off. Just back off the stretch until you just feel a stretch. And then slowly coming all the way back up, pushing the hands up back to that cat-cow position. This time we're going to take the right hand in the middle of the mat, just in front of your nose. Left arm comes up. And then take that left shoulder all the way through, down towards the ground if you can. And then the right arm comes out in front of you, straight out. forehead to the ground, and feeling that left shoulder start to open up. If you need more of a stretch, you can just reach the right hand further forward and then grab the ground or the mat with your fingertips and pull back. Even pull your buttocks back towards your heels as you do that. So these stretches, although they're passive, you can actually make them quite active by just using a bit of strength to pull back. And using your breath here, deep breaths in and out to really get into the stretch. Staying here, or if you need to even feel more of a stretch, you might take the right arm up to the ceiling and then around your back and hold on to your left thigh and lift your chest, your right chest, up towards the ceiling just a little bit more. Feeling that stretch now, perhaps in the lower right side of the back. Deep breath here, in and out. And then slowly the right hand comes down into the middle of your forehead. Lift the left arm up. And switch hands here, so the left hand comes down in front of the face. Right arm comes up, and then sweep that right hand all the way through. Even so much so, if you can, that right shoulder comes towards the mat. And then simply the left arm comes out. Now here might be enough of a stretch. And just hold here, or if you need more, you can come down. A little pressure onto that right shoulder. Grab the left hand into the mat and pull back. Deep breath in and out. Just holding this stretch here. Or if you did on the other side, you might take the left hand up and around and holding on to the right thigh and feeling that stretch, perhaps in the lower back, lifting that left chest towards the ceiling. Deep breath in and out. And then slowly releasing that hand. The right arm swings back up. And all the way back into that neutral position. Just stretching out the wrists here a little. So top of the hand comes back, fingertips back towards you. And now you'll feel a bit of a stretch here in the wrists. If that's not strong enough, or if that's too strong, I should say, move your knees closer to your hands. If you need more of a stretch, take your knees away and just take your buttocks back. Just to where you feel a stretch. Deep breath in and out. And then coming back around the other way, just to a normal position here. And then starting to rotate around. So see if you can come all the way over to the right, all the way forward, and all the way back. A couple of times here. This is a really good one to do if you've been on the computer for the morning. Just to really stretch out those wrists. You'd really be surprised about how tight they actually get. And now you know when you feel it in this position. I'm going to take the fingertips around into a sort of an awkward position here. We take the little pinky fingers in towards each other. So we sweep the wrists around, little fingertips, and now facing back towards you. And then start to lean back for more of a stretch. Deep breath here. So we're just holding these stretches for a little bit longer than we normally do. Deep breath. You'll notice the power of the breath can actually really help you get into the stretch as well. And then sitting back onto the heels, tucking toes under and just leaning back onto the heels. I challenge you to take the knees a little bit further forward and really feel that stretch in the front of the toes. And then from there, interlacing the fingers behind the back, lift up the chest and pull the fingers back down behind you. So you're depressing the shoulders and at the same time you're pulling the wrists back, feeling your chest open up. Deep breath here, in and out. and you're getting your toe stretch at the same time. Now, if your toes are okay, stay here. If you need to come down and rest, that's fine. Just rest down and switch hands. So this time you're clasping the hand in the other way. It might feel just a little bit different. Lean back, lift the chest. Deep breath in and out. And then coming forward, let's release those toes. Perhaps give them a little tap. Now we're going to stretch them out in the other direction. So we're going to stretch the front of the toes. So we lean back here and perhaps even lift the feet, lift the knees. But if you can, I want you to see if you can keep your heels together. They'll want to come apart. See if you can keep them together and maybe come up a little bit higher. So you can take a little bit of weight into the hands, but really try and squeeze the heels together, and you'll feel a nice stretch in the front of the foot. Other people don't actually say that it's that nice, but you'll get used to it. We're just going to hold this for a couple of deep breaths. And then slowly come all the way back down. Give those toes a little tap, and then let's get into some glute stretching and some leg stretching. So we're going to take a nice glute stretch here. You can make this as strong or as less strong as you like. Take the right leg and dorsiflex the foot and take it over the left. So the foot's actually hanging off the side here. It's not leaning onto the leg like that. It's actually hanging off over the edge. And so from there, to make this a little bit stronger, you can take the right knee away from you. So start to push the right knee away from you. And then if that's not strong enough, you can start to walk the hands in, walk the buttocks in towards that left foot to make it a little stronger. See how I'm trying to push my chest up and keep a nice flat back? At the same time, I'm pulling my left knee towards me and my right knee away. Now, some people will find that that's still not strong enough. It might be for some people. So wherever you're at, if that's not strong enough, there's a couple of different options from here. You can stay here like this if it's okay, if you're getting enough of a stretch. If you need to lie down on your back and pull your left knee in, that might actually help with the stretch as well. So grabbing one hand through and holding onto the shin, pulling that knee down into the chest. So you're really now trying to pull that left knee down to the chest, and at the same time you're pushing your right knee away from you. So you can actively do that, or you can use your right hand to do that as well. So there's a couple of options here. If you're finding that this is just way too easy and you're not getting a stretch, then don't bother doing my classes. No, only joking. There's other options. So stay here, stay in this position, or lying down. But if you want an extra challenge, you can actually try a toe stand. So you come up, and I prefer to do this in more of a half lotus position, but you can stay in that position. Otherwise you can come into the half lotus, and then you can practice balancing at the same time. So you've got that toe stretch, and at the same time, not a good demonstration, you're just basically trying to balance, and you keep your back nice and straight. So there's a couple of different options for you, but I'm going to stick to really just stretching out here for a bit longer. And then from here, if you're up or if you're down, it doesn't matter. We can actually take left and right. So we move towards the left, and then we move towards the right. And just notice if any little part feels a bit tighter. So like for me, I can come to the left, it's not so tight. I come to the right and it's starting to feel tight about there. So then I lean into that more. I hold that position and I just lean into that a little bit more. So find that position for yourself and just hold that for a bit longer. But be careful not to hold your breath here. Excellent. And then the other option obviously is you can put your foot behind your head as well. But we won't do that today. And then let's switch legs. So actually, before we do, I want to show you this one as well. It's quite nice. So the right leg stays there, and we take the fingertips back towards the feet. Take the foot the left foot out to the end of the mat, or just sort of about a foot distance from your buttocks. And then from there, we're going to come up into a bridge position and see my right knee's coming up high. We don't want that to happen. So I see now I'm pushing it down. So my hips are actually in one line and I'm just holding that. I'm getting a nice stretch in my sort of arms because I'm keeping my arms straight and I'm lifting my chest to the ceiling. So, and my hips are even. We want to make sure that the hips stay even. And then slowly come back down. Now we can switch feet. So let's do what we did on the other side. We take the left foot over the right, and remember to take it all the way across and to dorsiflex that right foot, and then start to walk the hands in just to where you feel a really nice stretch here, and remembering you can lie down if you prefer, and then really walking it in and feeling that position where you feel like you can hold it. You're not going to die. And then we'll hold this for a couple of breaths. So remembering too, you can go into the other options if you did on the other side. We'll move in a minute, but for now we'll just sit here and breathe. Noticing if there's a little difference between one side. And if there is, you might like to spend extra time on that side, that tight side. Always making this as active as possible. So try and really consciously to get that left knee away and the right knee towards you. And then when you're ready, you might take that movement from right to left. Just coming down towards the right and then over towards the left. Just noticing any little bits that are slightly, any angles that just feel a bit tighter for you. And then hold that. Breathe into it. Hold that spot where it's just a little bit tighter. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. Seeing if you can really breathe right from the bottom, right from the underneath your belly button, right from that abdomen. Breathe in and out. And then when you're ready, I'm going to come up into that bridge position. So moving the buttocks away from the heels, fingertips face towards the heel. And then we lift up, and then notice that left knee wants to go high. Pull it down as much as you can, keeping the hips even. Lifting the chest, no sagging in the belly here. Lift it all up and hold. Deep breath in and out. And then when you're ready, coming back down and then letting those legs come out in front of you. And we're just going to stretch into the calves and the hamstrings. So to start with, let's just wake up the feet a little bit by taking the feet about the width of your yoga mat and just taking big circles with the feet around in one direction and then back in the other direction. Waking up those feet. And then, when you're ready, we're going to take the right leg over the left and we're going to stack the knees on top of each other as much as possible. So some people might be up here like this, but just wherever you can, you want the knees on top of each other. From there, we're going to take a simple stretch, coming forward. Now, I encourage you to not overstretch here. Just come down to where you feel a stretch. Now, this can be in a different spot for different people, depending on where you're tight. You want to start walking the hands forward, just to where you feel a stretch in the calf or the hamstring. And then to get a little more of a stretch, you can hold onto the foot if you can reach it, or you can wrap a strap around the foot and pull on that strap. But try to lift the chest towards the foot as you come down. This one normally is felt more in the calf than in the hamstring. So it's a good one for the calf. And we'll definitely get into the hamstring in a moment as well. and then in the lower back, where most of us get quite tight, especially if you're on a bike or doing a lot of running, or if you have any weakness in the back, then you might have quite a tight lower back, so we'll stretch that out as well. So that's mainly for the calf, and you should feel that quite strong in the calf there. Just hold this one for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready coming up, we're just going to do a little counter twist here. So left hand onto the right knee, right hand behind, and we're just going to twist towards the right, touch into chest, and then coming back. Switching legs, so the right leg comes down in front now, the left leg goes up and over, knees ideally stack on one another, but once again it doesn't matter, even if your knee's up here, you should feel a calf stretch, or perhaps into the hamstring. And just as you did on the other side, come down, find that position that feels like a nice stretch. And you can always make this harder by pulling the heel off the mat. Most people don't really want to make this much harder though. So just feeling that stretch. Deep breath. In and out. And then when you're ready, coming all the way up, just for a little twist. So we're going to hold the right knee, or take the back of the elbow to the knee, left hand behind you just to keep that back nice and upright as we twist. Just a little counter twist here, nothing too strong. And then both legs come out in front. So here we want to try and get the sit bones. So we lift onto the mat, so we lift the fleshy parts of the buttocks away and we come onto the sit bones, so you can feel the strong sit bones into the mat. Then we're in a good position to come forward. So just come to where you can feel a stretch. And I know some of you are like this and you're like, I can feel it. So that's cool, you're lucky, you don't have to work for your stretch. Others need to come further forward. I want you to keep your knees straight for this one. So your legs are totally straight, or as straight as possible. And just edge your way forward. See if you can keep a fairly straight back. So I don't want you to round like this. I want you to try and pull from that back position, so you're really lifting the chest towards the feet. Even grabbing the mat and pulling forward to make it a little bit active, and even holding onto the toes and pulling forward. If you lift the heels off the ground, you'll get that extra bonus stretch. And then when you feel like, okay, you've got that position, come down to a relaxing-ish position and hold this for a couple of breaths. Closing the eyes, taking a deep breath in and out. And then when you're ready, coming all the way back up, we're going to bend the knees now and do that same stretch with bent knees, and just noticing if you can get perhaps more into the lower back. So bend the knees as much as you need to, and you might feel like you're getting into the lower back a little bit more. If you're not though, don't worry, because we're going to do another nice back stretch. But this is a good one for some people. So just bending those knees are quite a lot and feeling just the back release, if anything. And then slowly come all the way back up. Okay, so now we're going to do, we're going to do a bit of a tricky stretch for some people, but you don't need to take it too far, right? So just make sure your hair's not in the road. And we're just going to roll backwards. To start with, to sort of warm up for this, we're just going to roll back and forth. So tuck the feet in and just roll back. Now this might be enough for you to get a bit of a massage and a back stretch. If it's not enough, then you might like to take a different version of this. So version number one, so option one, is just to take the feet back like so and hold here.
Now, if that's not enough of a stretch, you can come further over and you can bend the knees at any time, or you can keep the legs straight. So once again, you need to move your hair. So my hair's sort of in the road, so I just pull it down and then come over. So notice I've got straight legs. I can hold here, I can clasp the hands, and I can sort of get more leverage this way. I can just hold here, or I can take the feet, or the knees, bend the knees, and take them around the ears. So wherever you're at, and you might just be like, this is too much, I'm just going to sort of hold here, then that's fine. Just wherever you can to get that nice stretch. So if you can come all the way over and the knees come down by the ears. And then when you're ready to come out of that, we're going to come into happy baby pose. So first of all, we're going to do half happy baby. So the right leg stays straight as the left knee comes down towards the armpit. And eventually, in a couple of weeks or years or whatever, that knee will come down into the left armpit. The foot is flat to the ceiling, so it's parallel to the ceiling, and you just hold the outside of the foot with your left hand. Right hip wants to lift up, hold it down. Now, some of you will be up like this, that's fine, just wherever you're at, doesn't matter. But if you can, actively push the foot into the hand. So it's quite strong because you're really pushing that foot into the hand no matter where you're at. And then release that left leg up to the ceiling. Here, hold on to the back of the calf. Even if you can reach the foot, if you can't reach the calf, hold on to the back of the hamstring. In fact, even holding onto the back of the hamstring is quite good here. So you pull the hamstring as much as you can. See how I'm dorsiflexing my foot, so I'm bringing my toes towards my shin, and I'm just pulling on that leg, feeling a nice stretch all the way down the leg. Deep breath in and out. And I'm actually pushing my hamstrings into my hands at the same time. And then release. Give that left leg a little shake and a kick. And then relax it on the ground. And just notice the left and the right, give them a little shake. Notice if they feel any different. Have a look at the feet, and you might even see there's a difference in the legs. And then let's even it up by taking this right knee into the chest, and then taking half happy baby. So the right hand comes to the outside of the foot, and then the knee goes down towards the armpit. At the same time, that left leg pushes down into the mat. Deep breath here, actively pushing the hand into the foot, but also the foot into the hand. So notice when you make this quite active, even if you're up here and you're pushing the foot into the hand, you should activate your adductor, so this inner thigh muscle. And so you're actively engaging that, making not just flexibility but mobility. So you've got strength within the flexibility, and that's what we want, especially for like athletic performance. So we're pushing the foot into the hand, and we're breathing through our nose, in and out. And then when you're ready, take that leg up to the sky. Keep the dorsiflexion, hands behind the calf, or the hamstring's totally fine. And then push that hamstring into the hand, really actively pushing here. You might even find that if you let go, your foot would just slam into the ground, you're pushing that hard. And just take a deep breath in and out. And we've almost finished, so hang in for a couple more breaths. And slowly releasing that leg down. Final twist, we're just going to take the left knee into the chest. Left hip, we're going to take both our hips over to the left, and then just let that right knee come down. If you can, the right shoulder stays on the mat, so push the right shoulder down to the mat, even if that means your right knee comes up. Let the right shoulder go down to the ground, arm comes straight out. Look over at the right hand. Deep breath in and out. and all the way back. Switching now. Take the hips over to the left, right leg goes straight. Left knee into the chest and then over. Left arm on the ground. So see how my left shoulder's coming up here. We want to push that down and look over our left hand. Deep breath in and out. And then all the way back. Squeeze those legs in, knees in. Give yourself a big hug. And remind yourself that you've done really well just to get here and to breathe and to stretch, and you'll be better off for it. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I'd love for you to join me again. And I'm going to put some notes under this about some ways in which you can train with me and help me support a really good charity called Aware. So I'll put that in the show notes, and like to see you soon and stretch on. Take care, and love any opinions you've got. Thank you very much. See you.